Modding Risk of Rain 2 has been one hell of a ride so far, and you already know I'm not done yet. But during my time modding, there have been dozens of moments that had me like... See, I remember back when I was first investigating modding, how intimidating even the very first step felt. So I thought maybe I could do something about that. So whether you're interested in creating a mod of your own, or you're simply intrigued by what goes into making a mod, sit back, relax, and enjoy as I mansplain a brief overview of Risk of Rain 2 modding. It all starts with figuring out what it is you want to make. Maybe a simple tweak mod. Maybe you want to implement some new items. Perhaps a humble survivor skin. A new artifact. Skills, stages, elites, enemies, survivors, sound effects, whatever the hell this is. Whatever it might be, it'll heavily inform the steps you're going to be taking next. For example, if you're making a skin, you might not even need to look at a single piece of code, compared to a tweak mod, where you're often only looking at code. Each basic mod generally requires a unique skill set, and the higher up the mod ladder you go, more and more of these skills are required to be used in conjunction with each other. In order to conceptualize this, let us refer to my absolutely banging tier list. Right at the bottom you've got the tweak mods. This could be something as simple as switching a damage multiplier from 1 to 2. It is of course by no means easy for a beginner, but it's the first step I'd recommend for anyone looking to get started. The skills you learn from this are transferable to pretty much every other facet of modding. Next up, you've got stuff like items, sound effects, and directables. As I just said, all of these build directly off what you learn with tweak mods, just with a little bit extra. You'll most likely need to interact with additional pieces of software like Unity or Blender, as well as components of R2 API as to not overcomplicate things. Beyond that, it's pretty much just a combination of everything beneath it, especially survivors. It's everything else and then some. If you've never made a mod before, I really can't recommend starting with a survivor, but hell, do what you want. Just be prepared to pull your hair out at every little step if you do. With all that said, this is just my take on things, and hey, I haven't even done half of these, so feel free to take my opinion with a bucket of salt. So, we know what we want to make, and that's great, but where do we actually start? Well, first and foremost, we're gonna need to know the basics of C#, or at least be prepared to learn it. If you already have practice with an object-oriented programming language, then you're chilling. But if you're new to programming, you might want to start here. One way or another, if you're ready to dive into C#, the first thing we should investigate is the boilerplate mod. It contains a very simple example mod for spawning in a generic item, and for pretty much every new mod you're going to create, it'll be derived from this boilerplate. When you first start out, the main concept you'll be using is hooks, and this is pretty much a way of adding your own code to the game's source code. There are two different types, starting with onhooks. These are far simpler and safer than their counterpart, which we'll get to shortly. Creating an onhook is kind of like attaching a chunk of code either before or after the original code. You are limited on what you can do with this though, given that you can't access any variables from the original code. For this reason, onhooks are best for extending functionality, or changing something simple like an instance field. They're also extremely unlikely to cause mod conflicts, so long as you're not breaking the onhook chain. Don't be that guy. Where the onhook falls short, the IL hook has you covered. This is a way of directly modifying or injecting code inside the original code. But really, you should only ever aim to add code, as IL hooks work by searching for explicitly stated instructions. If you remove even a single instruction, and another mod's IL hook can't find what it needs anymore, then all hell breaks loose. So use IL hooks sparingly. As a general rule of thumb, prefer onhooks over IL hooks. Only resort to IL hooks if there's seemingly no other way. If you think my explanation just now was lacking, well, first of all, my bad, but you can always fall back on the modding wiki. It's got tutorials, explanations, incomplete and outdated pages. Really, it's got it all, and it's where you'll get the majority of your more niche information from. But getting nicher than that, if you need to know how a game mechanism works, or whatever the hell to make an onhook for, and you can explore the actual game assembly with ilspy. There's also ilspy, but don't use ilspy for this. Its decompilation is just kinda weird and inconsistent, just trust me on this one. If after this point you still have burning questions that can't be answered by the wiki or ilspy, or if you're just looking for a shortcut, then you can scour the Discord, or just ask a question like a normal human being. But I am personally a big fan of the latter. Either way, there's lots of useful information to be found on the Discord, and it saved me innumerable times. So there you have it, a lightning speed look over Risk of Rain 2 modding. But this is only the start. If you, dear viewer, are interested in a more in-depth, honest, bare-bones and unscripted tutorial video for each of the various mod archetypes mentioned in this video, then do let me know in the comments. Then, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss that. It shouldn't take me a year. And even if you aren't interested, hey, subscribe anyway, man. The content on this channel is ever evolving. And I'm also kinda trying to push for 1,000 subs, so if you joined the movement, you'd be awesome and I'd love you forever. So until next time, Mr. Miyagi out.